The fire was raging out of control. Flames tore through the house, thick black smoke filled the air, and the heat was unbearable. The call had come in only minutes before. "My neighbor's house is on fire," someone had shouted in panic. The fire department responded immediately, sirens blaring as we sped through the streets. I stood there, watching in disbelief as the blaze engulfed the house. It was a scene that would stay with me forever. But what happened next, no one could have expected. Before we continue, if you're intrigued by stories of bravery and selflessness, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss more incredible real-life stories that will leave you inspired. As firefighters, we're trained to act fast. Time is everything in situations like this. That day, Mr. Anu, our captain, led the team. He was always calm, always quick on his feet. You could trust him with your life. We followed him into the burning house, our gear on, eyes sharp, looking for anyone inside. It was chaos, smoke so thick you could barely see 2 feet in front of you, and the roar of the fire was deafening. That's when we found her. She was lying on the living room floor, unconscious, a woman in her mid-30s. We wasted no time. We carried her out, rushing her to the paramedics waiting outside. They immediately started resuscitating her, and for a moment it seemed like everything was going according to plan. But the fire wasn't slowing down. It was spreading fast, and we were running out of time. Then, just as we were about to pull out, Mr. Anu froze. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his voice cutting through the crackle of the flames. "Hear what?" I shouted back, trying to make sense of what was happening. "A baby." "I heard a baby crying," he said, his face serious. We all stopped, listening. Nothing. "Anu, the house is about to collapse. We need to get out of here," one of the guys yelled. But he wasn't listening. His eyes were fixed on the burning house, his ears straining to hear. And then, faintly, I heard it too. A baby's cry coming from somewhere deep inside the inferno. "I'm going back in," he said, determination clear in his voice. "No way," we all shouted at once. "The fire's too big. You won't make it." But there was no stopping him. "I can't leave without that baby," he said. And just like that, he ran back into the house, disappearing into the smoke and flames. Mr. Anu wasn't just a hero on that day. He was a man of faith. He and his wife, Ada, had been married for 9 years, 9 years of waiting, 9 years of hoping for a child of their own. They had been through so much together, but still, no baby had come. They prayed, they believed, they hoped. But each year that passed was filled with heartache. Perhaps that was why he couldn't walk away from that cry. Perhaps that's why he risked it all. As firefighters, we knew the risk of running into a burning building, but Mr. Anu believed in miracles. Time seemed to slow down as we stood there, hearts pounding, praying he would come back. The fire was relentless, and every second felt like an hour. We couldn't see him. We couldn't hear him. My stomach twisted in knots as I imagined the worst. Then, just as I was about to lose hope, he appeared. Out of the thick black smoke, Mr. Anu emerged, holding a tiny baby wrapped in a blanket. The child was crying softly, but it was alive. He had done it. He had found the baby. But something was wrong. He wasn't moving as fast, and I could see the pain etched across his face. His arms, his neck, they were covered in burns. His skin was blistered, red raw from the flames. We ran to him, taking the baby from his arms and pulling him to safety. He collapsed on the ground, barely conscious. "Anu, you're going to be okay," we shouted, trying to keep him awake. The paramedics rushed over, placing him on a stretcher. Even as they treated his burns, all he could think about was the baby. "Is the child okay?" he whispered, his voice weak. "The baby's fine," I said, tears in my eyes. "You saved him." He smiled, his eyes closing as he lost consciousness. In the days that followed, we all feared the worst. The doctors told us that his burns were severe, 3rd-degree burns. He went further to say that a 3rd-degree burn is very serious. It's not like a small burn you get from touching a hot stove. It goes deep, through all the layers of the skin, and can cause severe damage. The skin turns white, black, or charred, And the person might not even feel pain at first because the nerves are damaged. He told us he would need surgery and recovery would take time. But every time he woke up, all he asked about was the child. Is the baby okay? The baby's okay, we told him. Over and over again he asked, and each time we reassured him. The child was safe. As it turned out, the baby belonged to the woman we had pulled out earlier. She had passed out from the smoke, and in the chaos no one had realized the baby was still inside. When she finally regained consciousness, she couldn't stop thanking Anu for what he had done. He saved my child's life, she kept saying, her eyes filled with gratitude. Anu's recovery was long and painful, but he was strong and slowly he began to heal. The doctors called it a miracle. His burns were bad, but his spirit was unbreakable. It took months of therapy and treatment, but Anu came out stronger on the other side. One day, the woman brought the baby to see him in the hospital. The look on his face when he saw that child, healthy, smiling, alive, it was a moment I'll never forget. He held the baby in his arms, tears streaming down his face, and whispered, "You're okay." The rest of us stood there, watching, in awe of this man who had risked everything to save a life. And for what? Not fame, not glory, just the simple act of doing what was right. And then something incredible happened. As Mr. Anu slowly began to recover, life had a way of giving back. 6 months later, after all the therapy and treatment, Ada found out she was pregnant. After 9 years of waiting, they were going to have triplets of their own. When their triplets arrived, 2 girls and a boy, Anu held them in his arms with the same tears he had when he saved that baby from the fire. Sometimes when we do good, good comes back to us in the most unexpected ways. The story of what Anu did spread like wildfire. People from all over the town started calling him a hero, but he didn't see it that way. To him, it was never about being a hero. It was about compassion. It was about selflessness. It was about doing good, even when it was hard, even when it hurt. And in the end, the goodness he gave came back to him. The child was safe, the mother was grateful, he was blessed with 3 beautiful children, and Anu was still with us, stronger than ever. Moral of the story: when we put others before ourselves, when we act out of love and kindness, the good we do always comes back to us in ways we never expect. Anu risked his life for that child, and in the end, his bravery and selflessness not only saved a life, but reminded us all that doing good is its own reward. The end. Thanks for watching. Did you enjoy the video? Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more. Drop a comment and share your thoughts. See you next time.
In a lively African village, there was a farmer named Kwesi. He was known for his green fields and big harvests. But Kwesi had a problem: his rooster, Kofi. Every morning, Kofi would crow loudly at dawn, waking everyone up. While many villagers liked this natural alarm clock, Kwesi found it very annoying. One evening, after a long day working in the fields, Kwesi sat on his porch, rubbing his head. His friend, Amma, walked by and saw he was upset. "Kwesi, you look troubled. What's wrong?" Amma asked. "It's that rooster, Kofi," Kwesi said with a sigh. "His crowing is driving me crazy. I haven't slept well in weeks." Amma laughed softly. "Roosters crow, Kwesi. It's what they do. Maybe you can find a way to live with it." But Kwesi was determined to find peace. The next morning, he built a small coop far from his house, hoping the distance would make Kofi's crowing quieter. For a few days, it seemed to work. The crowing was softer, and Kwesi managed to get some rest. However, one night, a group of robbers planned to steal from the village. They chose Kwesi's farm as their way in, thinking the darkness would hide them. As the robbers crept through the shadows of Kwesi's farm, Kofi's sudden piercing crow shattered the night's silence. Startled, the intruders believed their presence had been detected, prompting them to abandon their mission and flee. The following morning, villagers discovered unfamiliar footprints and disturbed soil near Kwesi's property, clear signs of an attempted intrusion. Whispers spread quickly, and it became evident that Kofi's timely crow had thwarted the robbery. Recognizing the rooster's inadvertent heroism, Kwesi approached the coop, gazing at Kofi with newfound respect and gratitude. That evening, Kwesi gathered the villagers and shared his realization. I was wrong to be annoyed by Kofi's crowing, he admitted. His loudness protected us. Every bee has a purpose, no matter how small. From that day on, Kofi was celebrated as the village hero. Kwesi built him a bigger coop closer to his home and made sure he was well fed and cared for. The villagers, too, showed their thanks, often leaving grains and treats for the brave rooster. Moral of the story: every being has a purpose, no matter how small. If you enjoyed this story and would like to hear more tales that blend tradition with valuable lessons, please subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us.